Will 2024 be the best year in WWE history? Keep watching if you want to know what I think. What's up, my peoples? Welcome to Everything is Wrestling. I am your host, Joel Fernandez, and today I want to talk about 5 reasons why I believe 2024 can be one of the best years in WWE history. Starting right away, number 1, the incredibly stacked roster that they have right now. It's an embarrassment of riches. The roster is amazing. Just thinking about it right now off the top of my head, right? We have Roman Reigns, we have Seth Rollins, we have CM Punk, we have Cody Rhodes, we have Gunther, we have Logan Paul, we have Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio when he returns, Bobby Lashley, L.A. Knight, yeah. And that's just the men's side. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's just the people who you could think could be in that main roster, main event level, right? Then we go over to the women's side. We have Rhea Ripley, we have Io Sky, we have Bianca Belair, we have Bayley, we have Becky Lynch, we have Nia Jax, we have Kairi Sane, we have Asuka, we have Ivy Nile, we have Charlotte when she returns, who unfortunately is going to be out for a while, but she probably will be returning hopefully by the end of this year. We have Zoe Starks. We have Shayna Baszler. We have Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, Liv Morgan, who should be returning soon, Selena Vega, Mia Yim, Carmella, I'm sure somewhere around the corner to return as well. Like, there's so many. This roster is stacked. All of these people are credible. Like, yeah, they're not all main event level people, but they could easily be heated up to that point where they will be main event level, right? And then if you go into the tag team division, we have the Creed brothers, we have Judgment Day, we have New Day, we have Pretty Deadly, we have Alpha Academy, we have Butch and Tyler Bate, who just recently debuted on this week's episode of SmackDown, New Year's Revolution episode of SmackDown. We have Street Profits, we have AOP and Karrion Kross, who also just recently debuted. AOP debuted with Karrion Kross in a new faction on New Year's Revolution SmackDown. We have the LWO, we have Los Otarios, we have Awesome Truth, who just wrestled together on Monday Night Raw for the first time in a decade, and maybe they'll continue to wrestle because that would be pretty cool. And then we have and that's just the men's side of the tag team division. We also have the women's side with Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, and also Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, the Kabuki Warriors. We have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Like, there's so many different teams, and it's just amazing. Like, the roster is so stacked right now. As long as they keep everyone in a good prominent position, this could literally go down as one of the best rosters ever, because not only are these all like credible wrestlers, they're also like extremely, for the most part, extremely good in the ring. Like, compared to previous generations and years of WWE, this is probably the most talented roster we've ever seen. And that's not even going into like the mid card where like Santos Escobar, we have Carlito, who just recently returned, we have Grayson Waller, we have Austin Theory, Cameron Grimes, JD McDonough, Chad Gable, who's awesome. Like, this is an amazing roster. Like, the fact that we just got CM Punk recently and he hasn't even been on many shows, like, that just goes to show like how stacked this roster is and how everyone is really good, and for the most part has a crowd reaction, you know. We have DIY as well. Like, there's so many other like different people that could be heated up at any time, and I think this is really cool. And this roster is just amazing. And we're not even talking about NXT, where there's Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, Ilya Dragunov, obviously the NXT champion, Braun Breaker, Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Dragon Lee, the North American champion, Wesley, who hopefully will return this year after a severe injury, but hopefully he comes back this year as well. Like, this roster is amazing. I think WWE has legit the best roster they've ever had. And this is just names off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some that I'm missing. Please let me know below in the comments if I missed anyone prominent that you think I should be naming. And then there's the free agents out there that they might pick up throughout the year. And then I haven't even gotten to the part-timers like Brock Lesnar and someone who just recently came back on Monday on day 1 edition of Monday Night Raw, the great one, the People's Champ, The Rock. And that brings me to reason number 2 as to why I think 2024 can be the best year in WWE history, and that is WrestleMania season. Yes, WrestleMania season. We are officially in WrestleMania season. You know, every year from January to April, WWE declares we are on the road to WrestleMania, right? But this year feels different. It just feels really different from the past because we're in WrestleMania 40. We're in this WrestleMania 40 season, the 40th edition of WrestleMania. A nice round number. You know they're gonna go. You know they're gonna go crazy. It's a spectacular event. 40 years of WrestleManias, like that is ridiculous. You know they're gonna do everything they can to make it the biggest WrestleMania ever. And how do they do that? Of course, on the first edition of Monday Night Raw for 2024, day one, the who returns? That's right, Jinder Mahal. And yeah, of course, that was the red herring, only to have the great one, the People's Champ, The Rock, come out. And, you know, they had a nice little segment where The Rock and Jinder Mahal went back and forth. Well, The Rock kind of just did all the talking. But he, at the end, you know, lays him down with a spine buster, hits him with the People's Elbow, and then he cuts a nice little promo segment where he's asking the audience where he should go eat. Should he eat at the booth? Should he eat at the bar? Or should he eat at the head of the table? The crowd erupts. Everyone knows what this means. He's going after Roman Reigns. It might just be a tease, or it might actually happen, but the fact that he actually acknowledged him. He actually acknowledged the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion. It's exciting. It's very exciting. Obviously, The Rock and Roman Reigns are cousins, and like this could be a huge event. One of the biggest main events that they could ever do, basically, right? So that is super exciting. This is the road to WrestleMania. And this is not even, it's just the first week of January. So there's so much more to go. There's so much left to do. So I think this is going to go down as probably one of the best road to WrestleManias ever. So that's just another reason there. And right. And the first stop, we all know, Royal Rumble, January 27th, Tampa, Florida. And we already had plenty of superstars declare for the Rumble, right? But this can honestly end up being one of the best Royal Rumbles ever for both the men and women, because there's so many different directions they could take it. Whether it's Cody, obviously he wants to finish the story, which means winning that championship that his dad never won. His father, the late great Dusty Rhodes, never won. And that would mean taking on whoever is that champion, whoever holds that belt, and that is the belt that currently is being held by the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So he wants that championship. He wants to finish the story. So will it be Cody Rhodes who ends up winning the Rumble? But then we just recently got the return of CM Punk after 10 years. CM Punk hasn't wrestled a match on live TV for WWE in 10 years. Yes, he did have a stint in AEW. I enjoyed his stint in AEW, but now he is in WWE, and he's here to do the one thing that has eluded his career, which is main event WrestleMania. Luckily, there is 2 nights of WrestleMania now, so we don't know who's going to be main eventing night 1, night 2. The unpredictability of it all is just very exciting. Anything could happen. And I really feel like if CM Punk ends up winning the Rumble, I feel like he'll probably go after Seth Rollins, since he has planted that seed. There's been that nice face-off that they had. And there's so much more that can happen within that time. But who's to say it's one of those 2 guys? What if an underdog wins? What if a Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble? What if a LA Knight wins the Royal Rumble, who the crowd loves, right? And speaking of LA Knight, we just saw on Friday's edition of SmackDown that now at the Royal Rumble, there will be a fatal 4-way for that championship, for Roman Reigns' championship, with Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns competing for the Universal Championship. And this is a championship that Roman Reigns has held for over 3 years now. And who knows we don't know if he'll even be champion at WrestleMania. That's nuts. He could lose the championship at Royal Rumble without even being pinned. So what happens if Randy Orton pins LA Knight in this match, or Randy Orton pins AJ Styles, or AJ Styles pins LA Knight? Like, so many combinations. LA Knight pins Randy Orton. Something happens, and now we have a new champion at the end of Rumble going into the Mania season. That's incredible storytelling. So many things can happen. What if Randy Orton becomes champion? Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble. Now it's Cody versus Randy, which is a legacy story where they could tell, and or so like the possibilities are endless, and I'm so excited to see what happens next, right? And so only time will tell, and that's just the men's side. When you're over to the women's side, we have Bianca Belair, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Jade Cargill, who hasn't made her in-ring debut since she jumped ship from AEW. So that's another person. Like, all of these people are viable to win the Royal Rumble. A returning superstar could come back and win the Royal Rumble. What if a Liv Morgan, who we haven't seen in a long time, wins? She has history with Rhea Ripley. They were a tag team at one point. She could come back, win the Royal Rumble, and face her former tag team partner. Or there's a lot of rumors going around, a lot of free agents out there. What if a Sasha Banks returns, a Mercedes Moné returns and wins the Royal Rumble? Anything is possible. Who knows? But it's pretty incredible. But all we know is that most likely whoever wins the Women's Royal Rumble will be either facing Io Sky, who's the current SmackDown's Women champion, or Rhea Ripley, who's the current Raw Women's champion. So, but before we even get to WrestleMania and that main marquee matchup, whoever wins the Women's Royal Rumble gets to step into WrestleMania and face one of these two women. But before that, we actually end up at another stop for WrestleMania, and that is the Elimination Chamber. And of course, it ends up taking place in Rhea Ripley's home country. And that brings me to number 3 as to why I think 2024 could be the best year in WWE history. And that is international premium live events. Starting with the Elimination Chamber in Australia, the WWE has announced multiple premium live events taking place all over the world this year. So we have Elimination Chamber in Australia. After that, we have WrestleMania in Philadelphia, of course. And then after that, the next 3 premium live events take place in international places. So in May, we have Backlash in France. In July, we have Money in the Bank in Toronto. And then in August, we have Bash in Berlin in Germany. So the next 3 premium live events directly after WrestleMania, all of those stories that culminated at WrestleMania the aftermath are all gonna be ending up happening in these premium live events in international places. That's amazing. That's awesome. We all know that the crowds in international shows are amazing and great. It's gonna be really exciting to see this. It makes every show seem special instead of just like before when it was just like the big 4 pay-per-views. And now that we moved over to premium live events, it seems like they're trying to make every single premium live event mean something. And by putting them in these locations, it automatically makes them more special just because we want to see how the crowds react. We want to see what they do in these storylines to continue these storylines because they're happening in these bigger places. Like not only are they happening outside of the US, they're happening in these places where we never really seen live events before, like France or Germany. And now we get to see that Australia. Like these are really cool places. And Toronto, of course, always have a great crowd, so it's very exciting. And then another thing that I don't want to get lost in the shuffle as well is that Sunday after Money in the Bank in Toronto, NXT is also going to be having a premium live event, Heat Wave, and this is going to be really cool because we haven't seen NXT go to Toronto or Canada since the new incarnation of NXT. The last time they were in Toronto was during the Black and Gold era, and this new incarnation of NXT with Shawn Michaels has taken over the booking. Is really I honestly have been finding it very exciting and fun. I haven't watched it as much as I used to. I just recently started watching NXT religiously again, and I've been really intrigued by it. It's a very unique show, and that brings me to my number 4 reason why I believe 2024 could be the best year for WWE, and that is the future of NXT. And for those who don't know, late last year, it was announced that starting in October of this year, NXT will air exclusively on CW Network. So in October of 2024, later this year, NXT will be exclusively on the CW Network, and that's a huge deal. The CW Network is found in 100% of homes in the US. It's not behind a paywall, so it's not behind cable like USA Network. It's not behind an app like Peacock. It's going to be on everyone's TV. Anyone who watches can watch. All you need is an antenna, basically, right? And I think it's really cool. Like, I think this is a perfect landing spot for NXT. For those who don't know, CW Network usually skews the audience. The show skews towards like the teen base, so teenage audience. And I think for those who don't watch NXT, it's also something similar to that. It's a lot of younger stars, of course, and they speak with younger lingo. The characters are all younger, skewing. It's very gimmicky, but in a good way. It reminds me of like old school wrestling where every character actually has like a backstory. They're not just wrestlers for wrestlers' sake. They also have a story. They all intertwine. There's a lot of backstage segments. So I think it's a really good show to introduce wrestling to a broader audience, and hopefully that means it's gonna translate into a broader audience for the whole WWE and for wrestling as a whole, because obviously the best thing is for wrestling to be hot like every organization. I don't care if it's just WWE. I'm a big fan of just professional wrestling in general. So I want everybody to win. So I think this is a huge deal. It's going to gain a larger audience, hopefully. And then since this isn't happening until October this year, I think this year is going to be a very like important year for NXT. They're going to have to keep this brand strong and keep it hot until that transition into CW so that the audience carries over. And also they want to make sure that they give this new network's a product that they're proud of. So it is a 5-year agreement. So I can only see NXT getting stronger as a third brand for WWE, and I think it's going to be really cool. I think you could see like with the prospects I named before, like Carmelo, Trick, Braun, Ilya, Roxanne Perez, and Cora Jade, like all of these superstars, I think they're going to be able to gain really big followings. And then you also have like the big events that you could have someone from a Raw or SmackDown show up on NXT and really make it seem special. And what I really like about NXT as well is that they're not afraid to try things. It's kind of been like where WWE gets to experiment a little bit. Like we saw NXT was where Triple H originally brought back War Games, and now we see that on the main roster. And other examples of that would be like the Fight Pit or NXT Underground or Iron Survivor matches. Like these are all new match types that they're trying in NXT, and I'm sure if they like branch over to WWE, it wouldn't be a surprise because they tried it already. They found success in NXT, and now they're able to like workshop it while they're in NXT and then bring it over to the main roster, and it's pretty cool. And they've always been like that. It's always been like a place to experiment a little bit, and I really like that about NXT. And something like that they used to do in the Black and Gold, they weren't afraid of bringing over like an indie wrestler or a legend from like another promotion for like a one-off match or a one-off feud. Like some examples of that was like James Storm was in NXT for a little bit, Alex Shelley, both of them from TNA or Impact fame. Or they even had the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger come over and have a match with Tyler Breeze at NXT Brooklyn, TakeOver Brooklyn 1, I believe. I was actually at that show. So like there's these awesome like things that they used to do. I think that we're going to see a lot more of that. And a recent example of that actually is they recently let Charlie Dempsey, who's the son of William Regal, go over to All Japan Pro Wrestling and compete over there. And I think that brings me to my number 5 reason why I believe 2024 can be the best year in professional, not just professional wrestling, the best year for WWE and professional wrestling. But number 5 for WWE, the reason why I believe 2024 can be the best year is partnerships. So, like I said, NXT recently made headlines by sending over the son of William Regal, Charlie Dempsey, over to All Japan Pro Wrestling. He even competed for the Triple Crown Championship over there. He had a really good match, a really good showing. He got some new fans over there. He picked up some new skills, I'm sure, and that's really cool. Like we haven't really seen that before. It's kind of unprecedented for in modern WWE to let one of your signed professional wrestlers go over to another promotion and wrestle. And the fact that they were okay with this, I'm sure it had a lot to do with William Regal being Charlie Dempsey's father. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this. I think we're going to see them use this amazing roster that I listed before and have partnerships with other promotions. There's been rumors of them wanting to work with TNA, and there's been rumors of them wanting to work with New Japan as well. I don't know how that would work, but if it is possible, that would be amazing. Sending over some talent to these other promotions to help them get reps. Like this is a huge bloated roster, but it could work if they're using them in different areas and letting them gain their skills in other places. It helps with cost, I'm sure, as well, with not having to have a bunch of people in your performance center all the time. And I also believe with the rise of the international premium live events, I could see a world in where Triple H wants to work with all of these smaller promotions in all of these countries that they're visiting now, because it helps them build the wrestling business all over, as well as keep that endless talent pool. If you start working with these smaller independent promotions in France or in Germany or in Canada, now you have this talent pool of wrestlers where, yeah, you scratch my back, let me scratch yours type thing, where I brought these guys to you, now you send me your biggest prospects. I don't have to go out and search for prospects anymore. I could kind of get them sent to me, and if that happens, it's kind of like a win-win situation for everyone. And honestly, that's what wrestling is about. It used to be about, right? Where in the territory days where promotions would share their biggest stars with each other. If that happens, like I could see this being a really big year for wrestling. And when there's a big year for wrestling, WWE is number one in town. It's a big year for them, right? So I could kind of see that happening, and I think that'd be really cool. So there you go. Those are my 5 reasons why I believe 2024 can be the best year for WWE. That's all for this video. Remember, whether it's the gymnastics, the theatrics, or the antics, it all leads back to pro wrestling. This is Everything is Wrestling. Peace out.